This message found you for a reason, so stop scrolling. Take a moment to stop scrolling. Take a deep breath and pay close attention before continuing. Sometimes a person can feel quite alone even when they are surrounded by people. During the day, you might be grinning and responding to everyone as though nothing was wrong, but when the night falls silent, your heart starts to ask questions that no one else can hear. Do you still hear me, God? Why do I still have to wait? When will things get better for me? I want you to pay close attention if you have asked such queries. Your waiting period does not indicate that God has overlooked you. Heaven is aware of your suffering, even though you may not comprehend what is going on at the moment. Nothing is unimportant, not even the tears you wiped away before anybody could see them, the prayers you mumbled while no one was there, or the times you made the decision to continue believing in spite of setbacks. You've experienced things that have altered you. Some folks abruptly departed from your life. Some opportunities vanished just when you believed they were finally yours. Some doors shut after you fervently asked for them to open. And maybe you asked yourself, why would God allow this to happen, as you saw those times? But what if there was no punishment for every door that was closed? What if there was protection behind some of those locked doors? What if the thing you believed you had lost turned out to be something you were never supposed to carry over into the following season? Sometimes you can't see what God sees. Sometimes all you can see is disappointment. God is aware of the final destination. The latency is occasionally visible. The preparation is seen by God. Occasionally, an ending is visible. God might see the start of something you haven't noticed yet. For this reason, you should not let your current situation dictate how your story ends. This hardship you're going through is just one chapter. It's not the whole book. Here at Jesus Speaks Light, we want to remind you that you shouldn't give up hope just because the solution hasn't been found yet. You might not even be aware that a new chapter is about to begin. However, there might be anything God wants to develop within you before that chapter starts. Power. Be patient. Knowledge. Faith. The capacity to move forward even when you are unable to see the path ahead. Because genuine faith is not limited to believing when everything appears flawless. Jesus, I don't understand this season, but I still trust you, is a sign of true faith. Put, I still believe, in the comments section if you are listening at this moment and something in your heart is telling you to keep going. Let those words serve as your statement. Additionally, share this message with anyone you know who is hurting in silence. You might be surprised at how much they need these words nowadays. Stay with me if this message is already making you feel anything. Because there is something about the season you are in that you need to comprehend. God might have been preparing things you couldn't see while you were wondering, why is nothing happening? We'll discuss what might have been going on behind the scenes while you were waiting in the next section, as well as why your delay doesn't have to mean your demise. You believed that nothing was going on. You observed silence when you glanced at your circumstances. You prayed, but the response did not arrive at the time you anticipated. You waited for the door to open, but it didn't. You began to question whether you had been forgotten after waiting for so long. However, what if you have been misinterpreting the facts? What if God was preparing you for the next step while you waited for Him to alter your situation? Certain things can only be developed under challenging times. Waiting is the foundation of patience. Under strain, strength is developed. Experiences we never want are frequently the source of wisdom. Additionally, God sometimes lets us go through an uncomfortable moment because He is preparing us to carry something bigger with the right heart. You desired the benefit right away. But maybe you weren't prepared for the responsibility that came with it. You desired for the door to open. However, it's possible that God was preparing you to see which door was truly intended for you. You were looking for a response. Maybe, though, the waiting taught you how to trust without being fully informed. Take a time to reflect on your life. Consider the things you once asked God to grant you. A few of them never took place. It hurt at the time. However, you might now see that some of those items weren't healthy for you. You wanted some relationships to end. Opportunities that you believed you needed vanished. Plans that you were positive would succeed abruptly fell through. You are still here, though. Perhaps you are unaware of the extent to which God has already helped you. You made it through the chapter you believed would ruin you. You survived days when you didn't know how you were going to survive. And that has some significance. There is more to your story. Although your trust was put to the test, it was not destroyed. Even if your heart has been hurt, it still has hope. Maybe that's the start of your next season. We at Jesus Speaks Light do not want you to gauge God's presence by the speed at which your situation improves. Sometimes, before anything happens around you, His work starts inside of you. He might be providing you the strength to stop doing unhealthy things. He might be teaching you to give up chasing people who have never appreciated you. He might be demonstrating to you that your identity is independent of the acceptance of others. You might be learning from Him to cease worrying about tomorrow. And you are gradually growing stronger without even realizing it. Therefore, don't despise the season just because it has been challenging. The technique can have a hidden purpose. And you might see why you needed what you learned here when the next chance arises. However, you should be aware of another caution. It's easy to trust any negative notion that comes to mind when you've been disappointed for a long period. There will never be any change. I am unlucky all the time. Perhaps everyone but me has been blessed by God. Don't let such ideas to define who you are. Even though a challenging season can speak loudly, it does not have the last say over your future. There is still cause for optimism. There is still cause for you to pray. There's one more thing you need to do. Give up the aspect of your future that you have no control over today. Say, Jesus, even though I don't understand your timing, I trust it. And continue to move. Because often the biggest changes start before they become apparent. Stay tuned as we go more into the breakthrough, favor, protection, and fresh possibilities you have been praying for, as well as how to get your heart ready for the arrival of a new season. Now pay close attention to what I have to say. You've had enough time to examine what went wrong. You've had enough sleepless nights wondering why some doors were closed. You've expended enough effort attempting to comprehend individuals who have wronged you, circumstances that have let you down, and events that did not go as planned. Let it go today. Not because it didn't matter. However, your future is more important than your past. You're developing a new strength. Every challenging season has taught you something that you will never forget, even if you don't feel it yet. When you were scared, you learned how to pray. You now know how to persevere when you're exhausted. You've discovered that not everyone who walks beside you is destined to do so indefinitely. Most significantly, you now understand that your hope cannot be solely dependent on external factors. Your next chapter must thus start with faith. Don't hold off on restoring your faith until everything is flawless. Make the decision to choose peace now rather than waiting for all issues to go away. Don't wait for everyone to think well of you before taking action. Begin where you are. Proceed to the next step. Leave tomorrow to God and do what you can today. Perhaps a conversation will lead to the opportunity you have been hoping for. Perhaps it will start with an idea. Perhaps it will be a new relationship. Perhaps it will just be the bravery to do something you've been scared to do. You don't need to know exactly how your plot will play out. All you need to do is stay true to the step ahead of you. And keep this in mind. A blessing doesn't always have to be dramatic. Peace after years of worry is sometimes a blessing. Freedom from a relationship that was causing you pain is sometimes what you need. Sometimes it's a fresh chance. Sometimes all it takes is waking up strong enough to give it another go. Never undervalue the power of a single, modest act of trust. I thus want you to make a statement today. Say it slowly. I give up my past, Jesus. I put my future in your hands. Give me discernment for the present, fortitude for the future, and faith for each step that lies ahead. Let your emotions be the source of that prayer. Additionally, leave a comment if you think you are starting a new chapter. My tale is not finished. When fear reappears, let that serve as a reminder. Don't keep this message to yourself if it was helpful. Give it to someone who has been having silent difficulties. Right now, someone might be sitting by themselves and debating whether or not to continue. Your contribution might provide them with the motivation they require today. Additionally, subscribe to Jesus Speaks Light if you haven't already. We will keep sharing with you words of God's love, faith, hope, and encouragement. But one last thing to keep in mind before you depart. You don't have to sort everything out today. You are free to take your time. You're free to recover. You are free to start over. You are free to think that a challenging chapter can nevertheless lead to something greater. The path ahead might not be ideal. Unexpected turns might still occur. You might still have self-doubt at times. However, resist the temptation to believe that you have been deserted. Continue to pray. Continue to walk. Maintain an open heart. Additionally, don't let the agony of the previous door prevent you from entering the next one. You've learned from your past. You are being shaped by your present. Your future is still up in the air. So raise your head. Inhale. Then go to the next phase. Even though the chapter you are leaving behind was difficult, it has no say in how your story concludes. Proceed with faith. Proceed with bravery. Keep Jesus at the core of your journey above all else. It's Jesus speaking light. And keep these words in mind if you needed this message today. You are not overlooked, even if you are waiting. We're still writing your narrative. Never give up. Continue to have faith. And continue to walk in the light.